Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with me, Naga Monchetti, live from Westminster Abbey on an historic day, the coronation of King Charles III and Queen Camilla. The King will become the 40th monarch to be crowned at this historic church in a ceremony which will reflect 1,000 years of tradition. The day will be a display of pomp and pageantry, with the nation's armed forces promising a spectacular event when the King and Queen process through the streets of the capital. The procession begins at Buckingham Palace. Thousands of well-wishers will line the route.
Crowds are really starting to grow here on the Mall, as is the level of excitement. Now, some people have been camping here for days, others have just arrived in the last hour or so. We'll be talking to some of them in just a few minutes.
I'm Charlie State with the rest of this morning's news. A bruising set of local election results for the Conservatives as the party loses more than 1,000 council seats. Labour is now the largest party in local government for the first time in over 20 years. COVID-19 is no longer a global health emergency, according to the World Health Organization, but it still poses a considerable threat.
Good morning. We have got some rain in the forecast today for Coronation Day, affecting southern parts of England and Wales, and likely to affect the London region through the middle part of the morning right through until the afternoon. But it won't be raining the whole time. It'll be showery and there'll be some sunshine around further north. I'll have more details coming up shortly.
Good morning. It's Saturday, the 6th of May. We're coming to you from outside Westminster Abbey on this historic coronation morning, where in just a few hours, King Charles III will officially be crowned monarch, 70 years after his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. People from around the world have been arriving in London to witness the ceremony that has remained largely unchanged for 1,000 years. Let's take you through how the day will unfold. The formal celebrations will begin at around 10:20 a.m. with a procession from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Abbey. Just under 200 members of the armed forces will be taking part in the procession, and another 1,000 service personnel will line the route. In a break from tradition, King Charles and the Queen Consort will be in the Diamond Jubilee State Coach rather than the older Gold State Coach. The coronation ceremony is due to begin at 11 a.m. The King has opted for a smaller, shorter and more diverse ceremony than his mother's in 1953. There will be around 2,000 invited guests inside the Abbey, including members of the royal family, as well as politicians, world leaders and foreign monarchs. At around midday, the King will be officially crowned. The Archbishop of Canterbury will place St Edward's crown on the King's head, and the Abbey bells will ring for 2 minutes, trumpets will sound and gun salutes will be fired across the UK. Afterwards, Queen Camilla will be anointed, crowned and enthroned in a simpler ceremony. The King and Queen will then return along the same route to Buckingham Palace, this time travelling in the 260-year-old Gold State Coach that has been used in every coronation since William IV's in 1831. King Charles and Queen Camilla will continue the tradition of greeting crowds from the balcony of Buckingham Palace. It's not yet been confirmed which other members of the royal family will join them. Weather permitting, there'll be a 6-minute flypast involving members of the Army, Royal Navy and Royal Air Force, culminating in a display by the Red Arrows. Our royal correspondent Nicholas Witchell has been taking a look at the last-minute preparations for today's celebrations.
Westminster Abbey is ready. The Coronation Theatre, where the most sacred parts of the service will take place, has been constructed. At its centre, the coronation chair, where the King will be anointed and crowned. It will be the most complex service to take place in the Abbey since the last coronation 70 years ago. The military are ready, after rehearsals through the streets of London at the dead of night and weeks of drill. In total, some 7,000 members of the armed forces will be on parade. And the King is ready for the most important moment since he acceded to the throne 8 months ago. Last night, he and other members of the royal family were meeting some of the 100 or so heads of state who've travelled to London to attend the coronation. The order of service has been published for the coronation of their Majesties King Charles III and Queen Camilla. There's been some last-minute revision to the homage of the people. The Archbishop will now say, "I now invite those who wish to offer their support to do so, with a moment of private reflection, by joining in saying 'God save King Charles' at the end, or for those with the words before them, to recite them in full." It then sets out the 24 words of the homage. An earlier version had been more strident in tone. Things haven't always gone smoothly at coronations. It's a complicated service. The monarch has several changes of robes, and there's all the regalia to present in the right order. But for the coronation of King Charles, the Abbey is confident everything will go to plan.
This service is rehearsed. It's really rehearsed, and we've had a certain amount of practice in making sure that things are the right way round. I can't promise on the day that something will be a bit challenging, but I think this is going to be wonderful.
It is the King's wish that this Christian service, rooted in 1,000 years of royal history, should be inclusive and embrace people of other faiths. The diversity will be subtle but heartfelt. It is the coronation of the United Kingdom's monarch, a king committed to serve all his people. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News.
So we're coming to you from Westminster, and understandably it is rather noisy here. We've got the street cleaners out, there's been sand laid on the roads for the horses later on. Lots of preparations happening here, hence the noise. But there is a build of excitement. People are gathering from around the world on the Mall this morning to catch a glimpse of the King's procession to Westminster Abbey. It begins in around 3 hours. Tim Muffet is there, getting a taste, a sense of the excitement amongst those well-wishers who've gathered. Tim, morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. A real sense of rising excitement. You can hear some cheers going off at the moment, and some people here have been camping here for days. Others have arrived in the last hour or so, and the numbers of people here are on the up. Just going to have a chat to some of these guys here. You've got your fabulous Union Jack waistcoat on here, David. Why have you decided to come here today?
Well, we've got to celebrate being British. Nobody does circumstance and pomp and ceremony like this. Envy of the world. Got to be here. Got to celebrate. All these people from all over the world. Just fantastic atmosphere. Got to be here.
What are you most looking forward to seeing?
Well, obviously the carriage going by. We want to see the flyby, and also hopefully, possibly the balcony if we can get anywhere new. Whatever we can. We're just here. Yeah.
And the excitement here is really building, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be really good. I feel it. Just hope it doesn't rain.
That's it. Fingers crossed. Have a great day, guys. Can I have a quick walk down here as well? Your fabulous wig. I love it.
Much. Well, I just had to, you know. Charlie boy, you know, he might just look my way. A bit late now, but you know. You
never know. Now, you've only been here for a few hours, haven't you? But already I see you're chatting, you're making new friends.
Oh, yeah, and we've got our friends have come from South Africa, especially for the trip. They're staying with me, actually.
Fabulous stuff. You're over here from South Africa. Why have you decided to make this journey? Why is it so important for you to do that?
Because we've been grown. I've been a royalist, my mother is, and it's part of history.
Have a quick chat to you as well. I love this headgear, it's fabulous. I presume you made it especially. It's very, very impressive.
Yes. Well, I'm South African. My dad's from the UK and so was my grandmother, so have to be here.
Good morning.
And it's only a few hours now to wait. What's going to be going through your mind? We have an announcement going on at the moment as well. What's going to be going through your mind as the King makes his way along this route?
Very emotional. Very emotional.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Yeah. Can't wait. Very excited. Yeah.
Of course, after the coronation itself, there'll be another procession, which will be even larger as people make their way back. I mean, what do you think the main sort of feeling is here amongst the crowd as you gather and you wait for all that to happen?
Very excited, great respect. Everyone loves the royal family. It brings the world together. Peace, harmony, it's great. We love being here.
I'm admiring the bow on your head as well.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
There's such an effort to get up here very early this morning, wasn't there? And some people have been here for days already. What have they been saying to you as you've been chatting this morning?
Well, we've not long arrived actually, so we've done quite well to get this position here. But no, it's a great atmosphere and everybody's really jolly. I think we're going to enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, you've got a great spot as well. You've got a really good view here
Yeah,
of the Mall. So not long to go, just a few more hours. At 10:40, that's when the first procession will make its way from here to Westminster Abbey. And a few hours later, after the coronation itself, a much larger procession making its way back to Buckingham Palace. So as you can see, the crowds are exciting. We should give everyone a cheer. Whoa, and I love your outfit as well. Are you excited?
Very, very.
There you go. In honour of Jerry from the Spice Girls. the Union Jack dress. Fabulous. Back to you, Naga.
Some great outfits there, Tim. Thanks very, very much. So here from Westminster, we're bringing you live coverage, of course, and that will continue throughout the day on BBC One. I'm joined now by our royal correspondent, Sarah Campbell. Morning.
Morning to you.
We were here yesterday, and look how much is changing already, because we've got the canopy now over the entrance to Westminster Abbey. A nod to the weather, of course. There are concerns.
There were some extraordinary downpours yesterday, so that has gone up overnight. Just an idea of the last-minute preparations that continue to go on and will do right up until almost the moment of the service itself. I think what we'll see today, which will be interesting, is how do you combine a service which dates back, 1,000 years, and make it feel current, make it feel up to date, make it reflect 21st century Britain, and that's been the challenge for putting this ceremony together. So we will see a lot of the sort of punctuation points. We will see the oath. The King will swear the oath to uphold the law and God. We'll see the moment of homage we've been talking about, where people will be asked to swear allegiance or invited to swear allegiance.
Because there's been some controversy over
that. There has been controversy, and that has been changed, that has been updated. Previously it was the peers that were asked to swear allegiance. This time it's the public that are being invited to swear allegiance, so that will be different. The congregation will feel different. Back in 53 there were 8,000 members of the congregation, mainly peers and people from the upper echelon of society in robes and, you know, a very grand sight. Whereas this time, almost a third of the congregation actually are people who've been invited, people who are involved in charities and in organisations, people who've won the medals, British Empire Medal. So it will feel different, and people are wearing formal dress. They're wearing, you know, day dresses and hats, but definitely no tiaras. There will be kings and queens, which there weren't at previous coronations. There will be 100 heads of state. And I think the idea is diversity, it's inclusivity. There are female choristers for the first time. There are female bishops for the first time. So as I say, it's trying to marry tradition, you know, that moment of crowning, which will still be the absolute moment of the service when that St Edward's crown is placed on the King's head. The bells will ring, there'll be gun salutes, a real moment of history. But like I say, marrying the two, history and modernity at the same time.
And just briefly, Sarah, what do we know of which royals will be in attendance?
Royals will be in attendance, of course, the King and the Queen Consort. She will be the Queen when she leaves Westminster Abbey. We've got the Prince and Princess of Wales, of course. We've got the working members of the royal family who'll be here. The royal family will, of course, be here in general. Only two really will have roles, the Prince of Wales, Prince William, and Prince George, of course. He'll be one of the pages of honour. Of course, cameras will be trained on Prince Harry. This is the first time that he'll have been with his family since the publication of his book Spare. Prince Andrew, not a working royal anymore, but he will also be here as a member of the wider royal family. So, there'll be lots to watch out for, and we haven't even talked about the processions to and from the Abbey.
We will do that. I'm just seeing police walking down there. We've just seen lots, haven't we? We've seen lots of personnel, military personnel as well, walking up and down, keeping busy, getting ready for the procession. Sarah, thanks very much. Not just the public travelling to London today. Of course, the troops involved in the procession will be arriving into Waterloo Station in just the next couple of minutes. And our reporter, Graham Satchell, is on one of those trains. And it's an important day. Graham, the excitement must be building, but also that sense of duty as well amongst the troops.
That's definitely right, Naga. We are on board a specially commissioned train that left Tring Station in Hertfordshire just around 6 o'clock this morning. On board 370 RAF personnel in their full number 1 ceremonial uniform. They've been rehearsing for today's event for about 10 days. We're going to have a quick chat with a couple of them just now. Mikey, morning to you. How are you feeling about today?
Morning. Generally really excited, but there is a lot of nerves and apprehension. You know, there's a lot of pressure, I want to say. We're leading the whole procession. So if one mistake, one error could have an adverse effect on the rest of the actual the troops behind you. So there is a lot of pressure. So yeah, trying to stay focused, but we are trained and we are prepared.
Can you just explain exactly what you're going to be doing today?
So the RAF will be leading the procession. I'm in the second row. We're going to be marching from Admiralty Arch all the way down to the Mall into the gardens, where we're going to be conjugating there to give 3 cheers to the King. Yeah.
Hannah, you had an early start. What time did you get up this morning?
Oh gosh, about 2:30 this morning. It was a long process to get ready. We had breakfast about 3 o'clock this morning and then had to collect the rifles about 4ish, so it's been a long day so far.
What does it mean to you to be involved in today's ceremony?
I feel really proud to be involved. It's quite an overwhelming sense of pride, and to do it for my family. I've got quite a few members who were in the armed forces or still serving, so it feels great to do it for them and for my country.
Yeah, confident?
Yeah, a little bit nervous, but I'm sure once we get there we'll start marching down and see everyone cheering. It's going to be a great feeling.
Yeah. And Tom, you've been practicing this, is that right? So there are members of the RAF from all over the country who've come together at RAF Halton practicing.
That's right, so we've been together for around about 10 days. We've done about 1 million steps on the old watch. And it's been quite good. So we've done multiple run-throughs, and it's been a real team effort to try and get everyone into the shape for the procession for today.
Yeah. Does it mean a lot to you today to be involved?
Yeah, I think it means a lot for everyone. I think it means for those that are on the procession, we're representing the rest of the Air Force that aren't able to be on parade, so there's a bit of responsibility and a real, a pride in, like you said, being part of it. And yeah, I think it's quite an exciting thing to be part of. It's being part of history, isn't it? So
it really is.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Guys, thank you very much. Good luck today.
Thank you.
So this is just one of the trains that will be entering into Waterloo through the course of this morning. 5,000 military personnel will be arriving into Waterloo in full military dress throughout the morning. With that from a train somewhere in Hertfordshire, it's back to you.
Thanks very much, Graham. Always good that we can get Graham without going through a tunnel. Let's get to the other end of that journey, shall we? Go to our transport correspondent, Katie Austin, who's at Waterloo train station. And Katie, I think you're being entertained whilst you're there. Morning.
Good morning. Yes, Waterloo Station is open as normal this morning, but some rather unusual passengers have been coming through. I believe these are the first of the 5,000 members of the armed forces arriving here by train this morning. They're going to be from the Army, from the Navy, from the RAF, and also some from Commonwealth countries as well. And I'm told this is going to be the biggest movement of military personnel by the rail industry since Winston Churchill's funeral back in 1965. And what we're expecting is they'll be lining up, or they'll be arriving lining up down here behind me, and then they'll be marching over Westminster Bridge before taking part in the coronation procession later. So yes, as I say, some rather unusual passengers arriving here this morning, and yeah, we're expecting more over the next hour or so.
Katie, thanks very much. Katie there for us at Waterloo Station with the military personnel arriving, as you saw, with Graham a little earlier, travelling into Waterloo, getting ready for the day's preparations for the coronation of King Charles III. Time now is coming up to, it's 18 minutes past 6. Let's get to Charlie in Salford, who has the rest of the day's news. Morning, Charlie.
Morning, Gina. Thank you very much. So this morning, with nearly all of the local election results in England declared, the Conservatives have lost more than 1,000 councillors and 48 local authorities. Gains have been shared by Labour, Liberal Democrats and Greens in all regions. Our political correspondent Helen Catt has the latest.
For the Conservatives this morning, time to reflect on a bruising set of elections that turned out to be even tougher than they'd anticipated. A pessimistic prediction of losing 1,000 seats exceeded. They lost control of 48 councils. Rishi Sunak played it down, saying he wasn't detecting any massive groundswell of movement towards Labour and that he would concentrate on his pledges for government. But Labour has now gained more than 500 councillors and 22 councils. Like in Swindon and in Stoke-on-Trent, some of the places, in short, that would be crucial in a general election. Sir Keir Starmer says these results show his party is on course to win a majority, although the figures don't quite suggest that's an odds-on certainty.
But I think it's time we started the countdown to the next general election.
The Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey said his party's results were their best in decades. They're happy with wins in places like Windsor and Maidenhead and Surrey Heath, in what they call the blue wall of Conservative heartlands, which they're particularly targeting at a general election. They also gained councils in Stratford-on-Avon and in Devon. For the Greens, it was the best set of local elections they've ever had. In mid-Suffolk, they won outright control of a council for the first time ever. While they were routed by Labour in their stronghold of Brighton and Hove, they gained more than 240 councillors across England, a record number. With the results now mostly in, the newly elected councillors will start work across England. The parties will start digesting those results in detail and what they could mean for a general election. Helen Catt, BBC News, Westminster.
Junior doctors in Scotland have voted overwhelmingly to go on strike for 3 days as part of an ongoing pay dispute with the Scottish Government. The British Medical Association Scotland has called for its members to receive a 23.5% pay increase, which is above inflation. Holyrood said this was simply unaffordable. Strike action is expected to affect planned operations, clinics and GP appointments. The World Health Organization has declared that COVID-19 no longer represents a global health emergency. Since January 2020, more than 765 million confirmed COVID infections have been recorded worldwide. The head of the World Health Organization said at least 7 million people died in the pandemic, but the actual number could be closer to 20 million. Vaccines, they say, were one of the major turning points in the pandemic, with 13 billion doses given. The head of the organization said countries should not let their guard down.
This virus is here to stay. It's still killing, and it's still changing. The risk remains of new variants emerging that cause new surges in cases and deaths.
Saudi Arabia is hosting peace talks between the rival military forces in Sudan since fighting broke out 3 weeks ago. Talks are a joint initiative with the United States and have urged the two sides to actively engage in negotiations towards a ceasefire. Previous attempts to stop the fighting have failed. The High Court has ruled the government acted legally when it allowed makeup ingredients to be tested on animals once again. Practice had been banned for 25 years. The animal rights group Cruelty Free International, which brought the case against the government, said it was outrageous the ban had been lifted. 1 in 10 people in the UK have autoimmune disorders such as type 1 diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis, according to new research. Scientists say they don't know the exact cause, but it's thought genetics and environmental factors such as pollution may play a role. Smoking, obesity and stress might also contribute. Passengers on the London Underground were forced to break their way out of a tube train yesterday following a fire alert. Footage showed people breaking the train's windows and climbing out, many reporting strong smell of burning around the carriages. British Transport Police said the issue is believed to have been caused by brake dust, and there are no reports of any injuries. Transport for London said they were sorry and were investigating the incident. The carcass of a huge fin whale that washed up on the beach in East Yorkshire has now been moved and will be disposed of. The 55-foot-long animal died on Tuesday evening after becoming stranded off Bridlington's South Beach. Local council said moving it had been incredibly challenging and difficult operation. Clubs in the English Football League have approved a 5-year television deal worth £935 million. Under the agreement, Sky Sports will broadcast or stream more than 1,000 matches each season. Starting next year, it is worth 50% more than the current deal. Those are some of the main stories for you this morning. At 6:24, though, let's have a look at the weather. How's it looking for all those crowds in London? Sarah, tell us more.
Oh, good morning to you, Charlie. Morning to you at home too. Well, Coronation Day with us, and the weather is going to be turning fairly unsettled, fairly changeable, I think, through the course of today. It's dry at the moment across London, but this is the forecast for central London, and you can see the rain creeping in. It's going to be arriving really middle part of the morning, I think, across London. Now, it's not going to be raining all day, so yes, there is some rain around. You'll have to keep the brollies close by if you are in those crowds in central London, but I think it's going to be fairly showery in nature as we head through into the afternoon. So it's all down to this area of low pressure that's moving its way in from the southwest, and that's going to be pushing eastwards and really across the southern half of England and Wales too, so drier further north. But this is the radar over the past few hours. We've had some showers already for parts of Northern Ireland, southern Scotland. There is that more persistent rain that's been working in across Cornwall, Devon. It's stretching towards the Isle of Wight, and it's going to creep its way northwards and eastwards, reaching London by the middle, perhaps the latter part of the morning. So it's going to push its way northwards and eastwards. Further north, sunny spells and scattered showers developing today. Not going to be quite as frequent or as heavy as they were yesterday, but there could be the odd thunderstorm for central and southern parts of Scotland, for instance. In the sunny spells, temperatures up to about 18 degrees or so for the warmest spots across northern England, but under the cloud with the rain in London, only up to about 15 degrees, so certainly not as warm as it's been over the past couple of days. There's that bulk of rain in the south, which gradually creeps eastwards through the afternoon and the evening hours. Still the odd heavy, potentially thundery shower further north into the evening too, but overnight things turn a little bit drier. Still quite a lot of low cloud around though, a bit of drizzle here and there. It isn't going to be a cold night with temperatures generally between about 7 to 12 degrees as we start the day tomorrow. Now tomorrow fairly cloudy. Initially first thing across England and Wales we've got that cloud. Brighter skies for Scotland and for Northern Ireland too. Still a few showers early on towards the east, and then as we see the sunnier spells breaking through the cloud through the day, that'll also spark off a few more heavy showers, particularly towards the east of the Pennines, perhaps 1 or 2 down towards London through the day tomorrow, but certainly a drier day compared to what we've got out there today in the south. Temperatures up to about 21 degrees, so a touch warmer too, and further north we're looking at the high teens, but a bit cooler across the northeast of Scotland where we've got more clouds and an onshore breeze. So a ridge of high pressure for a time for Sunday, but as we move through Sunday night into Bank Holiday Monday, the next area of low pressure sweeps its way in from the Atlantic. So that is going to bring another pretty changeable, unsettled sort of day for Monday, with blustery winds blowing in from the southwest to add some showers pushing their way gradually eastwards through the day. Again, some sunshine in between the showers, so not a complete write-off, but the chance that some of these showers, particularly towards the west, could be heavy and thundery. And temperatures down a notch compared to Sunday, but still not bad for the time of year, about 15 to 18 degrees. To summarise your weather then for the Coronation weekend, well, today we have got rain for some, particularly towards the south, I'm afraid. Some showers further north. Sunny spells, a few showers around tomorrow, but generally the driest day of the weekend. A return to heavy showers for Monday. Pretty unsettled as we look through the course of next week, but temperatures not doing too bad for the time of year. Bye for now.
Last stretch.
Let's get there.
I can't breathe.
That's my girl. Let's go.
Get up.
Don't want this to end.
We will get over that line.
Race Across the World, the finale, Wednesday at 9 on BBC One and iPlayer.
Join us to celebrate the coronation of Their Majesties King Charles and Queen Camilla. Witness history in the making with a weekend of special events, including live coverage of the coronation service at Westminster Abbey and front row seats to the coronation concert featuring some of the biggest acts in music. Celebrate the coronation with us on BBC One and iPlayer.
Welcome back to Westminster Abbey on Saturday, the 6th of May. In just a few hours, King Charles will become the 40th reigning monarch to be officially crowned inside that historic church. The Archbishop of Canterbury will conduct the ceremony. It's already noisy here as the street cleaners are out, and we're seeing police lining the streets and some crowds as well. Thousands of people are expected to line the streets of London, hoping to catch a glimpse of the royals. We can take a look at the route, show you what's going to happen. The King and Queen Consort will leave Buckingham Palace at around 10:20 this morning. They'll head down the Mall to Trafalgar Square. They'll be accompanied by the Household Cavalry. The coach will travel along Whitehall and Parliament Street before turning into Parliament Square and Broad Sanctuary. The procession is expected to arrive at Westminster Abbey shortly before 11 o'clock, ready for the service. Now, all morning, our reporters are standing in on different parts of that route. Let's go to Whitehall now. That's where our news correspondent is, Chichi Azindu. Chichi, good morning to you. And as we've seen already around various parts of London, look, there is excitement there, certainly. Morning.
I cannot tell you how happy people are to be here, despite not having much sleep. As you can see, the excitement is starting to build. Thousands have started lining Whitehall, ready in anticipation for the processions later on today. Rowan and your brother Jake, how are you guys?
We're good.
How did you sleep?
Good. Yeah.
Good. What is the bit that you're looking most forward to seeing this morning?
The king.
In his carriage?
Yeah.
And why are you so excited to see the king?
Do you know? Because it's his big day.
Fantastic. It's your granddad's big day as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Happy birthday, Granddad.
Thank you.
Granddad, how have you slept today?
I haven't slept at all. I've been keeping it for the kids.
And are you excited to be having such a great spot?
Yes, I am, yeah.
And why did you feel it was important to be here?
Well, basically because I wanted to bring my grandchildren down to see the once-in-a-lifetime scenario with the King. I mean, I will never see another one, will I? So, but...
Fantastic. So we're just going to walk down a little bit because we also have some other people here.
Good morning.
How have you slept today?
Not very well at all, to be honest. We've been out since 8 o'clock last night, but it's been a busy night, but been interesting seeing what's been going on. But
lots of friendly people. Met some really nice people. It's super.
Yeah,
lovely atmosphere.
Are you excited to be here?
Oh gosh, yes.
I know it's super early in the morning.
Oh, definitely. I'm looking forward to hearing the bands playing. Really looking forward to that.
Been on your bucket list for a long time, hasn't it? Coming to a royal event and being here with everybody. So.
And why did you think it was this important to be here? Or to get here from last
It's such a massive part in our history, and we haven't had a coronation in so long now. It's the first one lots of us have experienced, so it's good to be here for that moment in time.
Fantastic. Well, you're doing well considering you've only had 45 minutes sleep. So we're just going to walk along here to talk to Fazana and her friend. Fazana, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
You guys got here at 11 o'clock last night.
We did.
And you gave it a great description of how it was. How was it?
It was cosy, shall we say. I think I got about 45 minutes shut-eye, but that's enough. I'm refreshed, raring to go. It's a once-in-a-generation event, so I'm excited to be with friends.
Yeah. And you guys travelled down from where?
I came from Blackpool.
And you came from
I travelled from Leeds.
And why did you think it was so important to be here?
Oh, it's just such a momentous occasion. You know, these things don't happen every day. You've got to be here for this sort of thing. It's just, it's history. It's living history right in front of your eyes.
And you've got a great spot. A fantastic spot.
We bagged a great spot. We did a bit of a recce and we thought this is the place to be, and actually it's
we laid our towels out.
Yeah, like we were going on holiday. We got our spot. Yeah, it's fantastic. And I just hope if the King has to sign anything, his pen works today.
Let's hope, fingers crossed. Are you excited about the procession? Because you're going to get to see it twice.
Oh, yeah. we're definitely excited, Yeah, can't wait. Genuinely can't wait. It's so exciting.
I've never seen the Gold State coach, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, ladies, I hope that you get to see everything that you get to see. And thank you so much for speaking to us. It's been an exceptionally tiring night for a lot of people. They've told us that there's been a lot of street cleaners, the barriers going up and down, a lot of security, which has meant that most of them have not actually had any sleep. But they're still, nonetheless, exceptionally excited.
You can always sleep later. Chi-Chi, thanks so much. Chi-Chi Azindu there for us. We've also got the street cleaners here at Westminster outside the Abbey as preparations are underway. Of course, military operation there for those members of the crowds, as you saw, who were bagging their place. And very similar here, people really making sure that everything is pristine for later on for the coronation. And of course, still talking about military operations, around 9,000 members of the armed forces are taking part in King Charles's coronation today. It makes it the largest military ceremonial procession in 70 years. Now, our security correspondent, Frank Gardner, is at Hyde Park Barracks, and this is where many of the military personnel are getting ready. Frank, good morning to you.
Good morning from Hyde Park Barracks, which is a hive of activity this morning. We've had a whole parade of horses and their riders coming through here, doing the final preparations, exercising the horses before they take part in this huge ceremony later today. This is probably one of the busiest military places in Britain right now, because they've spent months rehearsing for this. We're right next to Hyde Park. The horses are obviously just as excited, so they've been taken out for a bit of a canter just to kind of let off a bit of steam. With me is the man who has organised this entire event, the Brigade Major, Lieutenant Colonel James Shaw from the Grenadier Guards. Colonel, did you get any sleep at all last night?
I did get a few hours, Frank, thank you very much, which I was quite surprised about. It's a big day coming up today.
Well, that's putting it mildly. Now, you organised not only the Platinum Jubilee, but also the late Queen's funeral. How does this compare to that?
I think the big change today is the number of troops we've got on parade. We've got 7,000 ceremonial troops on parade, triple the Jubilee and double Her Late Majesty's funeral. So it's going to be huge and it's going to be spectacular.
You've spent months planning this with a relatively small team. Did you study the coronation footage from 1953?
We did study the 53 coronation footage and 37 and 1911 as well. So we've learnt from history and taken the best bits from those events.
What could go wrong? Sorry to have to ask that, but
nothing's going to go wrong today. But what we want is just every soldier to have that attention to detail, no fidgeting, keep straight, do what you've been told. So nothing big will go wrong. It's just the little things we need to get right.
This is, of course, humans and horses. How can you be sure that the horses aren't going to lose control and bolt? I mean, I've seen rehearsals here in Hyde Park where there's been a loose horse without a rider that's gone charging up the line. How can you be sure that's not going to happen?
Well, as you started by saying, they've all been out for a good exercise this morning, and we've done a lot of training. Just this week alone, we've done 2 full rehearsals for the coronation. So they've experienced what's going to happen on the day, and they're used to big parades and the crowds.
Why is this such a huge number of people? I mean, you've got, 39 overseas contingents. Why is this so much bigger than anything we've seen previously?
I think just coronations have been going on for over 1,000 years, and we're very conscious of what an important event it is in our country's history. We want to make it the best possible day. Our mission is clear: make the best possible day for His Majesty the King and the country. So we want to put a lot of troops to that task to give that spectacular British military effect I think people will want to see.
The King has got his own connections, of course, with the military. He's jumped out of a plane 7 times. He's served in the Royal Navy and the Royal Air Force. Are people aware of that, do you think? I mean, most of these people here are 50 years younger than him, most of the people that I'm seeing here in the barracks. Do they perhaps know what the King's military connections are?
They do. The King is our Commander-in-Chief, our Colonel-in-Chief, and everybody's very aware of those connections. And we're very proud of our link. I mean, the bond between the Armed Forces and the Sovereign is an inseparable bond, and it has been for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Now, you're obviously in ceremonial dress, but I can see from your medals you've served in Iraq, Afghanistan, Kosovo. How do you balance operational duties with a ceremonial day like today?
Well, firstly, all the troops that are here today, they've been taken from non-operational tasks. In fact, I think every single member of the Armed Forces wants to be here today, but not everybody can. But I'd also say our operational experience helps with the planning and the pressure of the day. If things do go wrong or anything like that, what we've learnt on those operations that you've said will stand us in good stead if something should happen today and we need to, come up with an answer at short notice.
You've just had a birthday in the family. I won't say who it was. What are you going to say to your grandchildren about today?
Well, I think this is one of those days where you'll tell your grandchildren about the event, and I think just how proud we all are. I mean, everybody is 110% committed. We've said it's not a day for 100%, it's a day for 110%.
Lieutenant Colonel James Shaw, good luck. Thank you. So, what could possibly go wrong? Well, hopefully nothing, because they spent an awful lot of time rehearsing and practicing for this. But there is an incredible amount of moving parts to all of this, not just the horses, but the music, the choreography of it. It's a really finely tuned machine with a lot of things that could go wrong, but hopefully if the planning works, nothing will. And so far, the sun is shining, the horses are in good form, and everyone is in good spirits here. Back to you.
Frank, thanks so much. It's all about a positive mental attitude, which there certainly is. Now, earlier in the programme, we were talking to our reporter, Graham Satchell. Graham's on a train, and he's on a train heading to Waterloo Station. And the reason he's there is because that train is carrying troops, which are taking part in the procession today. Soon be getting to the station. Let's check in with him. Graham, the last time we spoke, you were travelling through Hertfordshire, north of London.
Yes, morning, Naga. We are now very much in central London, just a couple of minutes away from Waterloo. We're on board with RAF personnel, 370 on this. There's a train behind us, 5,000 troops all together will be heading into Waterloo Station today for the big ceremony. We're going to have a quick chat with the man in charge of today. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Group Captain Steve Harrison, tell us about your role today.
I'm very lucky to be the Royal Air Force's parade commander today, leading off from the front down the Mall.
Yeah, no pressure.
Absolutely no pressure.
You guys ready?
Oh, yeah, definitely ready. We've been rehearsing together for the past 10 days. Someone's just said to me we've done about 84 miles of steps over the past 10 days in shoes that we don't normally wear. So, yeah, we're definitely prepared and ready.
And so your role today is the procession after the coronation ceremony itself, is that right, from the Abbey back to the Palace?
Yeah, essentially we pick up from Admiralty Arch straight down the Mall, round to Buckingham Palace Gardens.
What does it mean to you to be involved today?
Oh, it's an immense privilege to be involved today. It's a personal career highlight, I feel.
Yeah. And it is, I mean, coronations don't happen very often, do they? And we're part of a history that stretches back sort of 1,000 years. I mean, it's something to conjure with, that, isn't it?
It is. It's mind-blowing, and it kind of adds to the pressure, but also to the privilege, I feel, at the same time.
So your guys are all in your finest, it's ceremonial uniform, is that right, today?
Yeah, these are our #1 uniforms,
Yeah.
which we wear just for occasions like this, graduation parades or, weddings and the like, and for coronations.
Yeah, and maybe do you mind just showing us this? So this is like, what is this ceremonial sword that you've got
the
here?
Sword?
Yeah.
So this is an RAF a ceremonial sword. This one's from Cranwell. It's all engraved. They come out for very special occasions. Unfortunately, I have to give it back after this. I'm not rich enough to be able to afford one of these. But yeah, very rarely get to wear and walk around these.
Group Captain, good luck today.
Thank you very much.
As you can see, we have stopped. So we've just arrived at Waterloo Station, and the guys are getting off. As I say, 5,000 troops heading here in central London from garrison towns all over the country for a very, very big day ahead. With that, from Waterloo Station, it's back to you guys.
Graham, thanks very much. Now, world leaders, foreign royals, other overseas dignitaries have arrived in London for the coronation today. Many attended a special reception at Buckingham Palace last night. Now, our diplomatic correspondent James Landale has more on that.
3, 2, 1.
Coronations may be grand ceremony, but they're also a chance for high diplomacy. The King met Commonwealth leaders all together for the first time in his reign. In Downing Street, they rolled out the red carpet so the Prime Minister could have a few meetings of his own. All heads of state got an invitation, except those with whom Britain has poor diplomatic relations. So not invited were the leaders of Russia, Belarus, Iran, Myanmar, Syria, Afghanistan and Venezuela. The US President has declined his invitation. His wife, Dr. Jill Biden, is here in his stead. But Buckingham Palace says about 100 heads of state have agreed to come. This is Church House, just around the corner from the Abbey, and this is going to become a kind of grand VIP waiting room where world leaders gather before and after the service. They'll have privacy, coffee and time on their hands. Perfect conditions for a spot of light diplomacy. Which is normally what he does.
Where have you come from?
The Foreign Secretary's staff filmed him pretending to be a TV reporter. Let's hope he returns to the day job. James Landale, BBC News.
Time now is what's just coming up to 6:45. Good morning to you. Should bring you up to date with what's happening on the front pages today. Most of the papers have produced souvenir coronation editions. You won't be surprised to hear. Let's begin with the Express. Striking images on many of the front pages. The Daily Express leading with the headline, Day of Destiny. It shows the image of St Edward's chair on which the King will be crowned later today. The Daily Mirror leads on a large image of the crown that the monarch will wear for the coronation, adding a poignant caption that he will not only bear the weight of it, but also the weight of history. His and hers is the Sun's headline, filling its front page with both King Charles and Queen Camilla's crowns. And there's a picture of the King smiling whilst greeting well-wishers during his walkabout on the Mall yesterday. That's filling most of the front page of the Daily Telegraph. The paper says he will pledge not be served, but to serve during his coronation vows. Talking to our royal correspondent Sarah Campbell, who joins me now. Sarah, morning to you. Interesting seeing the front pages. That walkabout yesterday. Unsurprising, surprising, you know, obviously surprising for the crowds, but King Charles was out and about, as were Kate and William.
Yeah, exactly, and I think they genuinely seem to enjoy. And the King, I think since he's, you know, exceeded the throne, he's had several of these walkabouts, and he spends a lot of time, and he really seems to enjoy meeting people, chatting to people, talking about it. As you say, the Prince and Princess of Wales were with him as well. At one point, the Princess was asked how the children are feeling about it. Of course, they're going to take part, we know, in the procession on the way back. And she said that they are nervous but excited.
Absolutely. I mean, you can only imagine. We were talking about his day yesterday because he was meeting dignitaries. He had meetings yesterday. We were saying that actually he didn't really have time to be nervous. So to look so relaxed with the crowds was lovely to see. The procession itself, should we go into a little bit of detail about what we're going to see?
Yeah, so this is a procession back from Westminster. So due to leave round about 1 o'clock, and it will be one of the most spectacular parts, I think, of the entire day. We've got 4,000 members of the military involved for starters, so it's going to look amazing. The King and the Queen will leave through the exit there, and they will board the Gold State coach, which we've been talking about.
I will just interrupt you there, because I think we're already seeing some guests arrive.
Well, the doors open at 7:30,
yeah.
So we'll see what's going to happen.
Seeing guests arrive in uniform and dressed in their finery as well, and that canopy, which was set up as well overnight because of concerns of the weather. Sorry, I interrupted about the procession.
Well, no, I was going to say they're going to have a long wait. I mean, this is one of the things. The service doesn't start till 11, but all the guests have to be seated by 9. So it's going to be quite a long time for people to wait.
Do we know details if there are things like cushions on the seats?
I'm sure the seats
You're waiting for 2 hours.
I'm sure the seats will be fine. I believe there are toilets that people can use as well.
Fine,
so, you know,
good. The practicalities are very important.
So important.
Absolutely.
So important.
There's always that big moment it culminates to, isn't there, on the balcony after the procession and everything, and like who you see on the balcony as well. What do we know?
And the palace have kept this under wraps. Who isn't going to be on the balcony. So I think if we look at the procession on the way back, which they have published, so we've got the King and the Queen who are going to be in the front carriage, the Gold State coach. We've got Princess Anne, who's going to be riding on horseback behind. And then the next carriage, the Prince and Princess of Wales with their children, George, Charlotte and Louis. Then you've got the Edinburghs and their children. You've got the Gloucesters. So we've got all the working members of the royal family in the procession on the way back. Not, you'll notice, Prince Andrew, not his daughters, and not Prince Harry. So I think we can take from that, we're talking about working members of the royal family. So if we had to make a guess about who would appear on the balcony, we would say it's going to be working members of the royal family. But don't forget, there are various options. In 53, there were several balcony appearances, so there might be a variety. You know, the King and Queen might come out on their own. It might be, you know, the King, Prince William, Prince George that comes out. So we'll just have to sort of wait and see. It's part of the surprise of the day.
The fly past, we were talking a lot, weren't we, yesterday? The weather. Actually, feels okay at the moment. It's chilly, it has got a bit more chilly. A few clouds in the air, I'm not sure which ones they are, but the fly past was under kind of some debate in terms of timing.
I mean, the RAF are going to make the decision this morning.
Oh, right, okay.
They'll make a decision this morning depending on the weather. As we said yesterday, in 53, the weather was terrible. The fly past still went ahead, it was delayed by a couple of hours. So there is that option. hopefully it won't be cancelled, because one of the moments of the day will be the shot of the Royals looking up and the planes going over the top. So I think everyone hoping that it will go ahead. And of course, all those hours of practice that the RAF will have put in, they will not want to miss their moment.
And wasn't it in 53, it was shortened, wasn't it, the fly past? In terms
It was shortened on the day, and then they did a full fly past a couple of weeks later. So it did happen, just not on the day.
It will happen. Timetable, strict, very, very strict. What do we know?
So as you say, 7:30 doors open.
Yeah.
Guests seated by 9. King and Queen Consort leave Buckingham Palace 10:20. Procession takes roughly 33 minutes. Arrive here, service between 11 and 1. The King and Queen, as we will know her then, leaves Westminster Abbey, travels back to Buckingham Palace, again takes 33 minutes. Then they go into the back garden, actually, of Buckingham Palace, because all of those military will have formed up in the back garden, and they will take the royal salute. And then there'll be the balcony fly past moment, hopefully, at around about 2:30. So those are the kind of the punctuation points that people need to set their clocks for today.
Yeah,
really big
set
moments.
coffee breaks and everything to that as well when they're watching. Sarah, thanks very much. We will take you to the Mall. Let's do that, shall we? Where Tim Muffet is with lots of people who are very, very excited about the day's events.
Yeah, they certainly are. The crowds have been building over the last few hours. Some people have been camping here for a few days, others have just arrived. Let's have a quick chat to Debbie, Sally and Sue. I think you might be quite excited looking at your outfit.
We are looking forward to it.
So why have you decided to make the effort to come here today?
I've always wanted to come to something royal, see the pomp and circumstance on my bucket list, so that's why I wanted to come, and it's a great
celebration, isn't it? Day to look forward to.
And you guys are just meeting new people, aren't you? You guys have just met. It's such a lovely atmosphere, isn't it?
It's lovely. It's lovely to sort of meet new people. I came up from Queen's Lane in State, and the women I met and we spent 13 hours in a queue with, we're still WhatsApping each other. So I'm to send them lots of photographs. So hopefully you're seeing me on TV now.
Fabulous stuff. Have a great day. Not long to wait now. Thanks ever so much for talking to us. Now, there's all sorts of age groups here, all sorts of people from all over the world, young people as well. Let's have a quick chat to Frankie, who's got a fabulous outfit on. This is amazing. Did you make it?
No.
You didn't. Now, why are you excited to come along to the coronation?
I've never seen the King before, and I'm really excited to see him because I think he's going to be a great king.
Yes. So how about you? This is a brilliant outfit you got here.
I think he's going to be a great king as well. So.
You've got a great spot because you're going to see him whizzing by there, hopefully, in a few hours' time. Should be great. What's it like to meet so many people here and to chat to new friends and make them in the crowd?
It's a great experience, yeah, definitely worth coming to.
What are you most looking forward to seeing?
Well, the whole thing, going past the procession, yeah. Yeah, we are, aren't we?
Excited?
Yes.
Not long to wait now, and also there'll be a fly past as well later. That should be exciting as well, shouldn't it?
Yeah. I'm really excited.
Brilliant stuff. Great. Well, thanks ever so much for talking to us, and have a great day today. Are you excited as well?
Hi, I'm really excited. I've come in from New Zealand,
Have you,
hence
especially?
standing under the New Zealand flag.
Hey, indeed,
So
yes.
here I am. I'm so looking forward to it. So looking forward to it. I've been in New Zealand for about 10 years now. So I've come back specifically for this. So yay!
Fabulous stuff.
How exciting!
And you've been meeting new people.
Absolutely. I've mingled with a few, spoke to other people who have gone to Westminster. Yeah, great, awesome. Have a great day yourselves.
Oh, have a great day. Thanks so much. So yes, excitement building. It's a real sense of anticipation now, and there is not long to wait.
It's like one big street party. Thanks very much, Tim Muffet there for us on the Mall. OK, it's 8 minutes to 7. Charlie's in the studio in Salford. Morning, Charlie.
Morning, G-Nag. It's funny, watching from a distance, I get a real sense of the different atmospheres in different places, the kind of calmness and the composure and the formality of where you are, contrasted with the excitement of the buzz of the Mall.
It's really quite odd because there aren't any people lining the streets here. As we walked in this morning about 4:45, 4:30, there were a few people with flags and kind of just observing what's going on, but we all needed special passes to get to this part of London. So it's pretty quiet. There's lots of police around, and obviously you've been hearing the street cleaners and the sand being laid down and seeing some of the guests, but it is pretty quiet in terms of the public here. But as you say, we cross over to Chi-Chi or we cross over to Tim at the Mall, and people and excitement really is building. We've been told today that, you know, when we all leave, when we try to get to various parts of London, it's going to be very, very busy. But for the moment, yes, very calm here for now.
Back with you later on. Thank you very much, Naga. Time now is 6:53. Let's bring you right up to date with local elections. The Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, said the results of England's local elections have been disappointing for the Conservatives. Let's take you through some of the details. Labour are the big winners with more than 2,600 councillors. It's up by more than 500. The Conservatives have lost more than 1,000 councillors with just 2,299 now. And the Liberal Democrats have also made gains with more than 1,600 councillors. That's an increase of more than 400. So all of that means councils up for grabs. Labour now controls 71 of those available. The Conservatives 33, Lib Dems 29. There are 91 councils with no overall majority. That's a lot of detail for you. Let's speak to our political correspondent, Jonathan Blake. Morning to you, Jonathan. I dare say, I mean, the party leaders, their attention will clearly be diverted towards the coronation today, but there's a lot to think about over the coming days and weeks.
There certainly is. And yes, Charlie, the coronation means that the pouring over of the numbers and the battle to set the narrative and claim victory that would normally play out over the couple of days after a set of elections like this will be paused until Parliament returns later on in the week. But for now, we do have the results, as you just ran through the numbers there, of all but one of the areas in England which held local elections on Thursday. And as the numbers show, the makeup of councils across England has changed and changed dramatically. We're always in a rush, aren't we, to look at what these sorts of results in local elections tell us about the broader political picture at a national level. But I think it's worth reflecting that it means that whether it's your bin collections or bus services or any other of those local services that we all rely on will be under a different control for many people, and the makeup of their council will look very different. But undeniably, a very bad set of results for the Conservatives. A good series of gains for Labour. Good enough to show that they are on course to win the next general election? Well, the jury's out on that, but certainly the Liberal Democrats and the Greens celebrating big gains for their parties as well.
For the moment, thank you very much. Now, the World Health Organization has declared that COVID-19 no longer represents a global health emergency. Since January 2020, more than 765 million confirmed COVID infections have been recorded worldwide. The head of the World Health Organization said at least 7 million people died in the pandemic, but the actual number could be closer to 20 million. Vaccines, they say, were one of the major turning points in the pandemic, with 1.13 billion doses given. The head of the organization said countries should not let their guard down.
As we speak, thousands of people around the world are fighting for their lives in intensive care units. And millions more continue to live with the debilitating effects of post-COVID-19 condition. This virus is here to stay. It's still killing, and it's still changing. The risk remains of new variants emerging that cause new surges in cases and deaths.
You're right up to date. Let's have a look at the weather for the coronation. Sarah's got the details.
Good morning. Well, Coronation Day with us, and the weather is looking fairly unsettled, I'm afraid. We have got some rain in the forecast. This is the picture for London, so already fairly cloudy. That rain coming in by the middle part of the morning, lasting through into the afternoon. It won't be raining the whole time, so it will be fairly showery in nature, but certainly not as warm as recent days, with temperatures up to about 14, possibly 15 degrees in London at least. And it's all down to the fact that we've got this area of low pressure moving its way in from the southwest, tracking gradually northwards and eastwards across the southern half of England and Wales too. This is where it's been raining already over the past few hours. A few heavy showers across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, but this bulk of rain has been spreading in from the southwest, so a soggy start for Cornwall and Devon too, and that rain spreads its way up towards the London region by around the middle part of the morning. I'm afraid it won't be particularly heavy first thing, but there could be the odd heavier burst as we head through into the afternoon. Some sunny spells in between, more sunshine further north across the UK, but also a scattering of showers. Some of them could be heavy, potentially thundery, particularly for southern Scotland. Now, most of us seeing temperatures between about 15 to 18 degrees this afternoon, not as warm as it has been in the south where we've got the cloud and the rain. Some heavy showers lasting across parts of northern England and southern Scotland into the evening hours. They should tend to ease away overnight, most of the rain clearing from the south overnight too. So a bit of a murky, damp start to Sunday morning, but not a cold night in prospect, with temperatures between about 7 to 12 degrees for first thing tomorrow. So as we head through into Sunday then, well, we start off on a fairly cloudy note for many areas. A few showers still in the east initially. They should ease away. There'll be more sunshine working in from the west, so actually not a bad day. Drier than it's going to be today for many, but again, just a scattering of showers developing in the east. Could be quite heavy to the east of the Pennines, for instance, later in the afternoon. It's going to be the warmest day of the bank holiday weekend, though. Temperatures up to 21 degrees in London tomorrow, but most of us typically in the high teens. Just a little bit cooler across the northeast of Scotland, where you keep the onshore breeze and a bit more low cloud. Now, Sunday night into bank holiday Monday, and the next frontal system moves in from the Atlantic. Quite a few isobars on the chart as well. So that means Monday is looking like an unsettled sort of day for your bank holiday, I'm afraid. We've got spells of showers or longer spells of rain moving from west to east across the UK, blown in by these fairly brisk southwesterly winds too. So it's not going to be quite as warm or as dry as Sunday. Temperatures generally in the mid, possibly the high teens for most of us on Monday. To summarise the next few days then, it is looking pretty wet today, especially in the south. There is some rain around, should clear later on. Sunny spells and a few showers on Sunday, but more of a chance of those heavy showers on Monday, and then things look fairly unsettled through the week ahead, but temperatures actually not doing too bad for the time of year. Bye for now.
Eurovision is coming to the UK. Are you ready? Not you, May. You lot. It's time to show the world how we host.
I've got it all under control.
Get loud. Louder. Get ready.
I was born ready.
Because this year, it's in Liverpool. Of course it is. Now come on. The Eurovision Song Contest. Starts Tuesday at 8, live across the BBC.
A little bit.
Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with me, Naga Munchetti, coming to you from Westminster Abbey on an historic day. The coronation of King Charles III and Queen Camilla. The King will become the 40th monarch to be crowned at this historic church in a ceremony which will reflect 1,000 years of tradition. The day will be a display of pomp and pageantry, with the nation's armed forces promising a spectacular event when the King and Queen process through the streets of the capital. Guards are preparing now. These are the scenes outside Buckingham Palace. Thousands of military personnel will be taking part in the processions today.
The crowds are building here on the Mall, and so is the excitement. People grabbing the best spot they can to catch the best views they can. We'll be talking to some of them in just a few minutes.
Good morning. It's Saturday, the 6th of May. We're coming to you from outside Westminster Abbey on this historic coronation morning, where in just a few hours, King Charles III will officially be crowned monarch, 70 years after his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. People from around the world have been arriving in London to witness a ceremony that has remained largely unchanged for 1,000 years. We'll take you through how the day is going to unfold. Now, the formal celebrations will begin at around 10:20 a.m. with a procession from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Abbey. In a break from tradition, King Charles and the Queen Consort will be in the Diamond Jubilee State Coach rather than the older Gold State Coach. The coronation ceremony is due to begin at 11 a.m. The King has opted for a smaller, shorter and more diverse ceremony than his mother's in 1953. There'll be around 2,000 invited guests inside the Abbey, including members of the royal family, as well as politicians, world leaders and foreign monarchs. And then around midday, the King will be officially crowned. The Archbishop of Canterbury will place St Edward's crown on the King's head, and the Abbey bells will ring for 2 minutes. Trumpets will sound and gun salutes will be fired across the UK. Afterwards, Queen Camilla will be anointed, crowned and enthroned in a simpler ceremony. The King and Queen will then return along the same route to Buckingham Palace, this time travelling in the 260-year-old gold state coach that has been used in every coronation since William IV's in 1831. King Charles and Queen Camilla will continue the tradition of greeting crowds from the balcony of Buckingham Palace. It's not being confirmed which other members of the royal family will join them. Then, weather permitting, that all-important weather, there will be a 6-minute flypast involving members of the Army, the Royal Navy and Royal Air Force, culminating in a display by the Red Arrows. So that's how the day is panning out. Our royal correspondent, Nicholas Witchell, has been taking a look at the last-minute preparations for today's celebrations.
Westminster Abbey is ready. The Coronation Theatre, where the most sacred parts of the service will take place, has been constructed. At its centre, the coronation chair, where the King will be anointed and crowned. It will be the most complex service to take place in the Abbey since the last coronation 70 years ago. The military are ready after rehearsals through the streets of London at the dead of night and weeks of drill. In total, some 7,000 members of the armed forces will be on parade. And the King is ready for the most important moment since he acceded to the throne 8 months ago. Last night, he and other members of the royal family were meeting some of the 100 or so heads of state who've travelled to London to attend the coronation. The order of service has been published for the coronation of their Majesties King Charles III and Queen Camilla. There's been some last-minute revision to the homage of the people. The Archbishop will now say, "I now invite those who wish to offer their support to do so, with a moment of private reflection by joining in saying 'God save King Charles' at the end, or for those with the words before them, to recite them in full." It then sets out the 24 words of the homage. An earlier version had been more strident in tone. Things haven't always gone smoothly at coronations. It's a complicated service. The monarch has several changes of robes, and there's all the regalia to present in the right order. But for the coronation of King Charles, the Abbey is confident everything will go to plan.
This service is rehearsed. It's really rehearsed, and we've had a certain amount of practice in making sure that things are the right way round. I can't promise on the day that something will be a bit challenging, but I think this is going to be wonderful.
It is the King's wish that this Christian service, rooted in 1,000 years of royal history, should be inclusive and embrace people of other faiths. The diversity will be subtle but heartfelt. It is the coronation of the United Kingdom's monarch, a king committed to serve all his people. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News.
So I should tell you that around 9,000 troops are taking part in the coronation procession. We think we can take you to outside Waterloo Station. We showed you those pictures a little earlier. Around 5,000 have been arriving this morning, marching in time. Meticulous preparations have gone into today, as you were hearing earlier from our security correspondent Frank Gardner, who was at Hyde Park Barracks. And you can see, can you imagine this scene outside Waterloo Station where 5,000 military personnel are arriving into Waterloo. We've been on a train journey. Graham Satchell, our reporter, has been on a train journey with some of those coming into Waterloo today, and you can see them all lining up, getting ready in their various regiments, ready to perform their roles and their duties later today. It's quite a spectacle in London, close to the river in Waterloo. So that's the scene there as the preparations continue. So very military, meticulous operation there, everything to time. And do you know what? It's not been too dissimilar for many of the people who've arrived early, days ago even, or even just early, much earlier this morning, to get a place on the Mall, to catch a glimpse of the King's procession. Tim Muffet is there amongst the crowd. Tim, I mean, when I say military operation, some of the people you've been talking to have been absolutely determined to get this right, to make sure that they're enjoying the day.
Absolutely, and they've come from far and wide as well, not just from around the UK, but from around the world. David has come over from America especially, haven't you? Why have you decided to make the effort to come?
Well, it was years ago, 2007, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, they visited Virginia, and I'm a high school teacher, and they made a special point of celebrating the anniversary of the Virginia colony. So that was from 1607. And so I just thought, you know, they're very friendly, and the royals have always treated the United States very well. So I wanted to pay tribute to King Charles now, the third, and just be part of history. And on being a history teacher, this seems like the natural place to be.
Perfect fit, and you made some new friends from Australia as well, haven't you? Why have you decided to make the effort to come over?
Well, we were here on holiday, and the last time when the Queen was crowned, I was born. The year I was born, so I've never obviously. It's been a long time ago, so it's great to be here for this one.
Oh, what a fabulous day for you.
Yes.
Great. Have a great time. You've got a great spot as well, haven't you? Quite near the front.
Yes, excellent spot, yes. So we're very excited to be here, yeah.
Talking to us, have a great day. Going to wave your flag? Give us a flag wave, way! Right, now it's a very big day as well for Patrick, because Patrick, yesterday you passed out the Navy, didn't you? Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, I passed out yesterday afternoon, came all the way down to London to see the coronation. Quite happy, new king, long live the king. So yeah, it's a good time to be alive and happy about it.
And the atmosphere is fantastic this morning, isn't it? Are you having a good time?
Yes, we are. How can you not have a good time? I wasn't very happy about the 5 o'clock wake up, but it's a good atmosphere. It's nice to see a lot of people out.
Yeah, it's been an early start for everyone, but hey, the weather's holding out at the moment. Fingers crossed on that front. And you guys, look at these fabulous things around your neck. Also, what's the term? What are these called? I can't remember. Garlands, are they?
Blaze or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Hawaiian. Where do you guys come from today?
We've come down from South Derbyshire, so been on the train since about 5 o'clock this morning. So. Yeah, very good.
Just about caught the train, didn't we?
Just about caught the train.
Oh, thank goodness. And what are you most looking forward to seeing today?
Oh, the King.
Just all the horses and the procession
carriages.
and everything. I can't wait. Love it. Love him.
We've got the fly past as well, hopefully later, weather permits.
Touch wood.
so.
Touch wood. We hope so. It's been a lovely day.
Got a little seat for you. You'll be all right then.
Thanks for talking to us today. Let's have a quick chat to these guys around here. Now, I've seen some suits in my time, sir. Michael, this is fantastic. Did you make it yourself?
No, I won't tell you the major provider.
Let's not do that. Now, what have you been making new friends this morning? Talking
Yes,
to
we've
people?
already talked to people on the train coming down from Kettering. We've talked to people on the tube. People saying we're just going to follow the flag. We don't know where we're going, but they're going to follow us. So
Well, have a great day.
Oh,
You've got a
thank
good
you.
spot at the moment, and it's a lovely atmosphere. People having a lovely time, and the size of the crowd is rising by every minute which passes. Back to you.
I can sense it, Tim. Thank you so much, Tim Muffet there. We were showing you pictures earlier, weren't we? There are 9,000 troops involved, military personnel involved in the processions today. They've been arriving into the capital. Around 5,000 are expected to travel in to London for the coronation. Our transport correspondent, Katie Austin, is at Waterloo train station for us this morning. Katie, good morning to you. We saw the pictures of, various regiments, various battalions walking together. And we can see them marching behind you. We've got the Navy behind you, I think. Who have you got with you? Morning.
Morning, yeah, that's right. 5,000 members of the armed forces have been arriving here at London Waterloo Station by train, and some of them, as you say, are just walking past me now. I think we've just had some of the Army, some of the Navy rather, and we've got people from the Army, the RAF, some Commonwealth forces as well. Now with me I've got Staff Sergeant Richard Flattery, who's got a big role in coordinating all this. Morning.
Morning, you're right.
Yeah, is it all running on time so far? All the trains on time?
Seems to be the trains run time. There is one that's slightly delayed for the 7:30 one, which now coming at 20 to 8, so 0740. But apart from that, everyone seems to be on time at the moment.
And tell me about your role in this. What have you had to do to make sure it all goes to plan, to make sure everybody's in the right place at the right time so they can get to the procession?
So with my job today, it's been the team leader for Waterloo, to making sure the marshals are in place, ready to escort the troops out onto Cab Road, ready for them to march onto the procession.
So that's sort of forming up behind me. What are all the troops then doing?
So then obviously going to go to Wellington Barracks, form up, and then they'll march around the route, and then obviously onto the parade itself.
And you had a rehearsal earlier this week. Did you learn anything from that? Anything done differently?
Yeah, so we obviously ironed out a few issues that we had on the rehearsal, making sure the marshals are on an extended line, and obviously facing out, and making sure there's no civilian population encroaching into the group as well.
And can you tell us anything about the type of troops we've got here today? Because there's quite a range, aren't there?
There is, yes. There's nine trains in total, 520 on each, totaling just under 5,000 troops, with a mixture of Commonwealth, Royal Navy, RAF, Royal Armoured Corps, Army Air Corps, the medics, the Royal Logistic Corps, REME, Inc Corps. So you can imagine there's quite a wide range of people.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for your time. I'll let you get back to the coordinating. So all the troops are going to be marching over Westminster Bridge and then getting ready to take part in the coronation procession later. There's been a lot of preparation by the rail industry as well to make sure things go smoothly, and I'm told this is actually the biggest movement of military personnel by the rail industry since Winston Churchill's funeral back in 1965.
Yeah, it's understandable. I mean, it's still so impressive, Katie. I'm just seeing the marching band behind you coming through as well. It's absolutely, well, a complete spectacle. Thanks, Katie Austin there for us. Back here to Westminster Abbey now. 2,000, more than 2,000 people are going to fill the Abbey for the coronation, sitting alongside the heads of states and foreign royals. Charity workers chosen by the royal couple have been invited to watch the service. Now, our royal correspondent, Daniela Ralph, is in the grounds of Westminster Abbey with some of them right now. Daniela, good morning to you. Early arrivals, but I'm sure no one minds waiting just a few hours for this.
Hi Naga, yes, I don't think they mind at all. I'm just probably a couple of hundred metres down the road from you. Within the wider grounds I'm standing in of Westminster Abbey and the neighbouring St Margaret's Church, and I am here with three people who are invited, they've got the golden ticket, invited to the coronation today. Max Woozy, Francine Jones and Sahil Usman. Max, tell us, what's it like to be invited today and why did you get your invitation?
It's absolutely amazing to be here today. There are so many amazing people just like these two here, and it's absolutely incredible, and it's such an honour to be here.
Why do you think that you got an invitation today? You're wearing your British Empire medal, is that a factor?
Yeah, so I slept in a tent for 3 years to raise money for my local hospice, and I think that was my kind of free little ticket to get into this amazing place.
And what are you looking forward to about today? What's the one thing you're looking forward to?
Just the experience, you know, me and my dad love history, we're both a bit of history geeks, so just to come down here and kind of get a front row seat almost is absolutely incredible.
Brilliant. Francine, looking gorgeous this morning, good morning. Tell us why you got your invitation. Why did you get your British Empire medal?
I got my medal for becoming the first civilian female to be elected President of the National Black Police Association, and the equality and diversity work I've done in the police service, and also services to the black community in Suffolk.
How are you feeling about being in this congregation today and getting the invitation?
It's a bit exciting and a bit nervous, don't know what to expect, but being part of history, yeah, someone like me to be part of this is just absolutely fantastic.
Do you feel like that you know, you can't quite believe, as you put it, someone like you? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, because you don't see many people that look like me being recognised for the work that they've done. So I'm just really proud to represent my family and my community.
There's been much made of this being a more diverse coronation in terms of the people that are invited. Is that an important message?
Yeah, of course, it's always an important message to have as many people represented that the king is, you know, the king of. Very important. So yeah, it's really exciting.
And Sahil, how old are you?
17.
And tell us, what's it like 17 going into the Abbey this morning? How are you feeling?
Amazing. I'm a bit nervous. It's a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a moment in history and a very honourable moment. Like Max said, we've all done something phenomenal to be here. So yeah, well deserved.
Can you tell us why you got your invitation?
So I was diagnosed with leukemia in July of 2018, and I just thought to myself during Christmas time that there's going to be kids on the ward that aren't going to be able to go home for Christmas. So I got some Christmas presents together on the day that I was allowed out of hospital, and I gave them on the ward, and I think the smiles that I saw on their faces was what led me to do more. So fast tracking to COVID, I knew that the elderly people won't have anyone there for them during COVID, but I knew that I had my mum with me. So I said to my mum, and I put myself at risk because I was in the extremely vulnerable category, and I said to my mum, let's go out and just buy whatever we can, because there was some crises of shortages of hand sanitizers and things. So we put together 300 hampers and gave them out around the Lancashire area to the elderly people, and I stayed in touch with them during COVID.
Well, you've been rewarded with a ticket today and an invitation today. What are you most looking forward to seeing? Can you quite believe you're standing here in Parliament Square about to go into the Abbey?
Like I said, it's the work that we've done, like Max said, like Francine said, we've done something to be here today, which we're really glad that the King's recognised, because there's a lot of royalists that aren't attending, but people like us are.
Okay, all three of you, listen, have an amazing, amazing experience today, and 3 people there who will have an eyewitness view today of the coronation service.
Daniela, thanks so much. Fairly calm here in terms of whether or not there are people here gathering. There aren't. There have been some guests arriving into the Abbey, arriving since early this morning, ahead of the coronation. But what we have been seeing is 5,000 troops coming in to Waterloo, into London this morning, because around 9,000 military personnel will be taking place. So this is the view over Westminster. You can see Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament there, and you can see the troops walking. It's about a 20-25 minute walk at the pace they'll be walking from Waterloo to the Houses of Parliament, to here at Westminster Abbey as well. We can show you they've been arriving in. Look at that, look at that. All the guardsmen coming through, the bands coming through, the marching bands in all their finery, greeting each other, bearing standards, all gathering, and will line up in military position, as you can see here as well. Royal Air Force walking together with the flag bearer. We spoke to a cadet yesterday who's going to be a standard bearer today as part of the ceremony, all walking from Waterloo Station on the river. And it's about a 20-25 minute walk to Westminster Abbey. So the preparations definitely are underway. Now look, no royal event would be complete without music fit for a king. Fit for this king, and for his special day, His Majesty has commissioned 12 new musical pieces, including a coronation march from Patrick Doyle. And Patrick joins me now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, good morning.
Okay, when did you get the phone call that you were going to be one of these 12 composers?
Well, I received a call from the Palace. Well, I didn't personally. The Palace called my agent, and my agent called me. So this was between Christmas and New Year, so I was absolutely blown away.
So between Christmas and New Year, so you didn't have long
not
to
write
going.
it.
No.
Well, I got the call, but we were told we had 2 months. That was the deadline, the months of January and February. So.
And what was your brief?
The brief, can you please make the march triumphant, uplifting and memorable? So no pressure.
No pressure at
no
all.
Pressure.
But you've got lots of experience in
Yes.
terms of films and, you know, music scores as well. So what did you draw upon? What kind of were your thoughts? And you've also got, you know, had a relationship with the Palace as well over the last few decades.
Yes. Well, you pull on all your years of experience of study, and I've scored over 60 films. So it doesn't matter whether it's an orchestra for a film or an orchestra for this incredible occasion. So I pulled at all of that. And yes, I've known King Charles for over 30 years. He's been a great supporter of my music throughout my career, and he commissioned me to, many years back, to compose a piece for the Queen Mother's 90th birthday.
Oh, I see. So you have some, and did he like it? Did he like what you'd composed?
Yeah, well, you mean the march? Or?
For the Queen Mother's birthday?
Well, we absolutely loved it, yes. We were invited to the Palace. He even asked my mother and father, so the whole thing was a wonderful, and my wife and I came, so it was a wonderful family day. It was wonderful.
So let's set the scene. So at 10:20 this morning, couple, King Charles and Queen Consort will be leaving Buckingham Palace. That's at 10:20, and they'll be making their way in procession to here.
Right.
But here at Westminster Abbey, describe to us where the orchestra or the musicians will be to play your piece of music, because that will happen at 10:15, 5 minutes before they leave Buckingham Palace.
Well, the way these churches are designed is a cross, if an aerial view, and the centre of it, on this occasion, it's the organ loft. So the orchestra are tightly packed into the organ loft, and that's where all the pieces are going to be played, including mine, including the march. So I've been told that at 10:15 precisely, because it's very precise, as you can imagine, it will be played over the coronation, the Commonwealth procession. So I'm very, very excited. That's the geography of the piece.
You're looking very smart, by the way.
Thank you
Are you
very
going
much.
to be in?
Yes, I'm going to be in there. It's unbelievably thrilling, and I think we're sitting beside the choir. It's spelled Q-U-I-R-E. It's the old spelling. So we're all thrilled. I'm with all the other composers who have done a wonderful job.
You know, often people, there are many people who aren't familiar with classical music or the structure of music, you know, certain compositions. I've got you here. So I've got to say, when people are listening, when they're watching later, because obviously BBC One has the coverage, at 10:15, they're going to, and it's 4 parts, the
It's in
composition.
4 sections.
So when you're sitting there and listening to that, what will they be hearing? What should they look out for, listen out for?
Well, the piece was composed in my own mind to represent the King's character, and it's really a march overture, and it tells a story. The 4 sections, it starts off with a heraldic opening, which is very ceremonial.
So loads of trumpets.
And trumpets,
yeah.
and all the horns, and the full orchestra. And the second section moves along at a faster pace, a march-like, and it's very strong sort of Celtic reference, because I come from Scotland. And the third part is joyful and uplifting and full of fireworks in terms of the orchestration, and the final part is very reflective, and it's also romantic and builds to a wonderful climax.
How's it going to feel for you, sitting there, listening to your music, watching everyone in the Abbey listening? How's it going to feel for you?
Well, it's going to be an unbelievably joyful day, and I'll be absolutely thrilled, and hopefully everyone out here in the world will be as thrilled as I am. It really is an incredible honour, unbelievable.
Well, you look the part. Let's hope the music sounds the part. I'm absolutely sure it will. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. I look forward to listening to the music. Enjoy
Many
the day.
thanks. Thank you.
Let's take you to a view of Buckingham Palace, of course, where the procession will begin at 20 minutes past 10. Quite calm. Very, very calm indeed. Slightly grey skies this morning. There is the threat of rain, of course, dappled skies at the moment, but very calm and serene. One can only wonder what is going on inside the walls ahead of a rather long day ahead for many. And Westminster Abbey, you can see a little bit of blue skies. That's where we are this morning. I'm here with our royal correspondent, Sarah Campbell. Good morning.
Morning.
Sarah. So, I mean, the guests are getting in, they're walking in already, aren't they? Reflection kind of about, I suppose, what today means, because not everyone is excited about the coronation. We have to acknowledge that. There have been polls out, etc., etc. But I think the walkabout yesterday kind of gave an indication of scaled down event, but also the more personal, the more interactions with the crowds and the public from the royal family.
Yeah. And we know that people have been queuing for, and camping on the Mall, haven't we, for at least a week now, waiting. So there is a real undercurrent of people that are looking forward to seeing this ceremony today and seeing the procession. Those streets from here to Buckingham Palace will be lined by tens of thousands of people. Millions more people are going to be watching around the world. This is a moment of history. British monarchs have been crowned here for 1,000 years. King Charles will be the 40th monarch to be crowned here. So this is a moment of history. People I've spoken to who were there in 1953, I'm always struck by the fact they always have one moment that they really remember, whether it's the time that St Edward's crown was placed on Queen Elizabeth's head, or it's the first glimpse of that gold state coach as it was going through the city and seeing the Queen waving from the window, or maybe it was the balcony moment and standing there in the Mall amongst thousands and thousands of people. And I think today, in a few hours' time, people will have their own moment that they're going to talk about for years and years and years. So it is a really special day today. we're being drowned out a little bit by the final preparations.
Well, can you imagine what it's going to be like? We can show you some of the military bands, I think, that are making their way. Did you see those lovely pictures we had? Making their way from Waterloo Station here. We're going to hear all of that as they come through. They're obviously not playing now, but that almost eerie sound of feet on the ground as they all walk up, because various streets closed off here around Westminster.
I think the sights and the sounds today will be absolutely spectacular and memorable.
Sarah, thanks very much. Sarah Campbell there, our royal correspondent. Well, you've seen how the whole of London, the whole of central London appears to be gearing up for the coronation today. And of course, from us on Breakfast, the coverage continues on BBC One, coverage of the coronation, which is going to continue throughout the day with our various reporters and correspondents around the country, picking up the mood of the nation. Do have a very good day.